anyway, I think of them really as sort of, in my case, as like mutes, like the way that a trumpet player would carry around a bag of mutes. You know, I carry around a bag of mutes. They're electronic mutes in my case, but in the same way that with trumpet mutes, not all of them necessarily just make the instrument quieter. They just create different kinds of timbral effects. And sometimes, in my case, a mute is louder than an unmute. Anyway, the heart of the pedal setup is always, and I think you asked what's the most what's the I've talked about this with a lot of friends. The most important pedal, the one pedal I can't live without, is the volume pedal.
Obviously.
And especially with an acoustic instrument like the cello, where feedback can be a problem. That way, if I'm not playing and I don't have my hands covering the strings, I'm not gonna start ringing and feeding back and making other sounds that I don't want to make on stage. But the other thing is really that in different registers, at different gain levels, and in different situations, like the way that it might be set up, you really like the low end. It sounds great, but then the high end is a little too bright, and rather than mess around, on the fly constantly with what's your EQ setting, I got both hands busy, and I'm sitting in a chair, usually a few feet away from the amp. So it's nice. That way I can fit with I can fit in with the blend, the ensemble, and then if I need to be louder, I just pump it up more. And that's a problem with amplified instruments in general. That's especially apparent in an instrument that one plays acoustically so often, is that the dynamic range of an acoustic instrument is far greater percentage-wise, or relatively, from the very quietest sound to the loudest sound an acoustic cello can make, is a much bigger ratio or span than if than with an amplified signal. Once you put it through a chain of preamps and amplifiers and everything else, it tends to kind of flatten it out, so that in the quiet parts you're too loud, and in the loud parts you're not loud enough. And and the way that people get around that is by having some kind of pot to control the dynamic. Since there's no volume knob on the cello, on this cello at least, the volume knob is the pedal.